What is up, YouTube? In general, I am a big fan of Ashes of Creation. There is a lot of systems I really enjoy, and Steven's overall vision I think is one that is going to make a great game. But there are certain things I really disagree with when it comes to the design. And this is not just like things that are happening now, but what they plan to do in the future. So I'm going to talk about those things I really don't like and why I think they're a bad idea for Ashes. So starting off with number one, I think the weapon rarity scaling as it is right now is simply a really bad idea. It's bad design. What do I mean by this? At the moment, the difference between a white common bow and a legendary bow is 4.8 times the damage. The difference between a green uncommon bow and a legendary bow, the legendary bow still has over 3 times more damage than the green bow. Of course, this makes making legendary gear feel really good. It makes you feel overpowered, but I think it's bad design in general to have people in legendary gear be raid bosses out in the open world. Why is this bad? If you want the game to feel somewhat fair, if you want the game to feel like you have a chance to compete even if you're not putting in 18 hours a day, you don't want somebody who's good at the game, who has decent gear, to automatically lose to people who are much better gear than they are, who might suck at the game. You want skill to be able to make up for some lack of gear. So here's one way that I think you can look at it. The reason they have gear scaling is because you want the person to feel good every time they upgrade their gear. But you don't need to make gear twice as good over one rarity level or 50% stronger in order for it to feel good. I would say that, let's say a blue bow hits for 200 physical damage. If I was to get a heroic bow, if that heroic bow went from 200 to 230, that still feels really good. That's a significant increase. That's a 15% more damage increase. That's an awesome feeling for a bow upgrade. It doesn't need to go from 200 to 300 to feel good. If I have a 230 DPS bow that is heroic, and I find an epic version that hits for 270, automatically I feel like that's a big increase to my character. I feel great. It doesn't need to go to 330, 350 plus. You get the same feeling of progression by making smaller jumps as you do with bigger jumps. The only thing that bigger jumps do is make the playing field less even for players. And I think that's just a bad design decision. I think starting things off, gear scaling needs to be massively reduced. I think somebody playing with a rare bow should not instantly lose to somebody playing with a legendary bow. But I do think you still want to feel really good finding that epic or legendary bow in the first place. So there needs to be a balance between two things. And right now, there is no balance. Right now, the power spike is far too high whenever you upgrade gear. People who will be griefed will be all in white, so this might be a way to combat that. That's true, but if you have people griefing all in white, like first of all, it doesn't really even make sense, because you could have a level 50 all in white, no matter what the system is, griefing level 30s, right? So basically what I'm saying is, I think if you have a group of people all in rare gear, they should feel confident enough to fight, for example, a group of people all in legendary gear. They should feel, if we're better than they are as players, we should stand a chance. If you make gear scaling so ridiculous that legendary gear is the only thing that matters when it comes to PvP, I think you're making the game unplayable for many people who don't have the hours to get full legendary. So tone it down, make rarity scaling smaller, but still significant enough to chase. I think the numbers are just too high. Thankfully, this is just a number question, and easily it can be fixed, but I do think it needs fixing. Second thing to talk about, and this is a really big pet peeve of mine, but family teleport, and it's not in the game yet, but I think family teleport is a horrendous idea. So for those people who don't know what it is, in the future, Intrepid plans to have a system where you can have a family of 8 people, or 9 people, I believe, and they can teleport to each other at any time they choose. Now, this might be with a cooldown, this might be with a channel time, but doesn't matter. This entirely defeats the design of the game. I think this is a horrible idea for many reasons, but the main one is Ashes of Creation, by design, is a game that does not have fast travel. If you design a game to have no convenient fast travel, and then you add a very convenient form of fast travel, you are forcing every person who plays your game to min-max around family teleport. if they want to be efficient in any sense. If you want to be efficient at the game, and family teleport is the only way to teleport fast, people will be min-maxing for it. They will be making sure they have people in their family from different parts of the world so they can travel fast to different parts of the world when necessary. And people who don't follow this rule, people who make families with their close friends who play together, are at a big disadvantage. Not only that, this actually even pushes towards the pay-to-win category. Now, you might think that's a bit crazy to say, but imagine the following. Let's say I have $150 of disposable income per month to play on games. I can literally have 10 Ashes of Creation accounts, all with a level 1 alt, and make a family with only my alts. At this point, I just fire up my laptop, and if I need to travel anywhere in the world, I have my personal 8 waypoints of different characters I have on different accounts that I can teleport to at any given time. Let's say I am in the bottom left of the map. It would take me an hour and a half to travel to the top right. Doesn't matter. I have 10 accounts, you know? I can log into one of them, teleport. I can do my stuff over there, log into the other one, teleport back. So, making it that people can have their own personal waypoints if they pay enough money for it, that is literally definition of pay to win. And again, this wouldn't really matter if there was a lot of fast travel all over the world. If you could travel anywhere with teleports, a lot of games have a lot of teleport systems. And in those games, family teleport works because it's just one more form of teleportation. But when it's the only form of convenient teleportation, people will min-max around it. Not only this, but Ashes is designed so that guilds can't travel quickly from one spot to the other. Oh, we heard there's a caravan in that area over there. Well, you can't get all 60 people there. It's impossible. Well, that's not true. With family teleport, you could. You could entirely set up a guild with people who have pay-to-win accounts, who have their own personal waypoints. And all they need to say is, hey, you send a Discord message. Everyone teleport to said node in said biome right now, log into your characters. The entire guild can be there within 1 second. If a guild organizes itself properly for family teleport. On the other hand, you could have, let's say you have a 64-person guild. They can structure their parties in such a way that they have 8-player parties, and each party has a person of a different family inside it. What does that mean? If you have 8 parties of 8 around the world scouting for things to do, if any party finds something of interest, they ping the Discord, and every person from the other 7 groups can teleport there because there's one person from each group, from each family in that said party. So you have mass teleport to anywhere you want. Again, this will be min-maxed for because, again, it is the most efficient way to travel. So you introduce family teleport into a game with no teleports, you're not only making it easy to get around the world, and it will be the default way to get around the world, you also force everyone to do this into a very non-fun playstyle. Because if they don't do it, they're being uncompetitive. Does that make sense? All right, anyway. That's family teleport. I think is a horrible idea. I have a few suggestions on how to make it work. I'm not going to go into that right now because it's a little bit complex. There are ways to fix it, but in general, the way it's currently planned to be is a mistake. Number 3, and this is a minor one, but as the game is being developed right now, and from what I'm seeing, range versus range combat has almost no skill ceiling. Right now, if you're fighting Ranger versus Ranger, Ranger versus Mage, Mage versus Mage, range DPS versus range DPS is literally who can deal damage faster. There is no good ways to dodge abilities other than the dodge function, which I'm going to talk about in a bit. There's no really good ways to cancel casts because, generally speaking, whatever you have as hard CC to cancel casts is also a long cast time. And it just doesn't feel good to do these fights because whoever has the opener wins by default, usually. Now, this might be fixed, so I'm not going to go really deep into this. We're going to be getting more abilities in Phase 2, and maybe we're going to get some really fast kicks, some really quick silences, maybe some ways to dodge, maybe some ways to get invulnerability. So, I'll do another video on this once we see the new abilities coming out in the next phase. But, talking about this specifically, let's talk about dodge roll, number 4. The major issue I have with dodge rolling is, number 1, it's not a full dodge, it's not a 100% chance to evade, and you can't tell whether you mistimed your dodge or if you got unlucky. Very often in PvP or PvE, I'll dodge an ability, I'll still take damage. I don't know if I mistimed it and I took damage, or I don't know if my evasion chance just didn't proc properly, because right now when I'm dodging, I get about an 80% chance to evade an ability or attack. This feels really bad because it doesn't allow me to learn when to dodge and when not to dodge. It feels inconsistent, and I feel like I can't get any better at it. Secondly, I'm pretty sure it's rather ping dependent, and depending on the ping you have to the server, sometimes it just doesn't work at all. Sometimes you take damage before the projectile even hits you, other times it's well timed, you see the projectile hit you, then you take damage. It's inconsistent, and it's and the fact that it's not 100% is a problem. But on the other hand, if you make dodge rolling 100%, you allow people to easily script dodges for strong abilities. It would be so easy to make a program that's hard to detect, that instantly dodges at perfect timing whenever a spell of your choice is used. For example, I could easily make a program that perfectly dodges every single snipe from a ranger. I could make a program that dodges every single fireball from a mage. And this program could be made in a way that is very hard to detect. Now, of course, Intrepid is going to be on top of cheating, but people will always cheat. And adding a mechanic that is extremely overpowered in PvP, that can be easily scripted, is an issue. And for that reason, I would entirely probably remove it as a mechanic for PvP. I'm not a fan of it. Last but not least, combat being allowed in node cities is one of the worst ideas I've ever heard of. Now, I don't know what their current plans are for this. I know they made combat not allowed in starting zones, but they've talked about this before, and they have planned to allow combat inside cities. Oh, the guards will protect you. Oh, we'll have ways to make it punish. No, it's bad, period. Don't do it. Don't think about it. Get rid of it. The sooner you do this, the better. Let me explain why this will always be abused, why it will always be a problem, and why it should be removed immediately. First of all, just start off simply. People like to have a hub where they feel safe. This is not a question. Look at any MMORPG in the world. Where do people gather around? In RuneScape, it might be Falador or Varrock or whatever. In World of Warcraft, it's Orgrimmar. It's Stormwind. Why do people gather in these places and just chill, do a little bit of parkour, jump in circles, talk, trade? It's because it's safe. People like to have a safe place to be in a game. And major cities should be those places where you feel safe. That's number one. It's a quality of life thing. Number two, if I'm the kind of player who wants to make money really fast, and I know for a fact that I can PvP in nodes, I will abuse this system to no end. For example, let's say I wanted to make a lot of money really quickly, under current rules. Well, I would go on a server that has a lot of people, that's been up for a long time, and I'd say, hey, I want to buy 20 pieces of legendary logs. I would do this on an alt. I would find a seller who is willing to sell 20 legendary logs. I open the trade window, he puts the 20 legendary logs in the trade window. I confirm those logs are on his body by doing this. Little does he know, I have 4 rangers, all in mediocre gear, casting snipe on him the moment I've confirmed he has the logs on him. He insta-dies to one-shot, and I loot his body with my ult. Yeah, my 4 rangers are going to die. They might lose a few pieces of trash gear. I just made 20 legendary logs in one shot. Half of it, actually. 50% of his logs are going to drop. I can do this ad nauseum. Yes, I'm going to go red on those 4 characters that are ults. I'll lose a little bit of stuff. Making PvP allowed in cities where you drop stuff is begging for people to kill people that have stuff in their inventory. Trading will be impossible to do in cities. Not only trading, crafting is going to be hard to do. You're not going to be allowed to have any materials on you. People are going to be killing people who are crafting gear. You see somebody walking from their strongbox towards a crafting station, kill them immediately. There is no way to control for this, and there's no reason the system should exist in the first place. I will abuse it because it's easy money, but I don't want to be the one abusing it because I think it's a really unfun mechanic. So please remove it. Allow cities to be a safe zone. I don't think there's a single person who wants cities to have PvP enabled by default, unless they want to be griefing people and making really easy money. I'll be one of those griefing them because it's not really griefing, it's for profit. But I'd rather do other things for profit. I'd rather do PvP in the open world. I'd rather do PvP in the oceans. I don't want the meta for maximum for maximum gain to be killing people by trading them first and then killing them after to make sure they have gear on them to loot. Every city, every trade hub should be PvP protected, period. You feel like most people won't be doing that? Brother, have you played PvP MMOs? If you know for a fact that whenever you kill somebody, they lose half their stuff, the first thing you do is ask people to take stuff out of their bank. Have you played RuneScape? How many people lure people in RuneScape to PvP areas just to kill them? Imagine if people were starting in PvP areas. Hey man, can you take out your stuff and show it to me for a YouTube video? Show me what you got, brother. Imagine if it was as easy as, hey, I want to buy your logs. Imagine if that was all you needed to do to get people to withdraw their entire inventory. Hey, looking to buy 20 legendary logs. It'll be impossible to trade. In order for people to trade properly, they'd have to have, like, trade one log at a time. It's ridiculous. The kind of meta that would develop would be boring as hell. Routes to safe spots are going to be the most dangerous spots. Yeah, and that's, I love that. I love that routes are dangerous. Yes, you should be in danger traveling and transporting goods. That's the entire point of the game. You shouldn't be in danger in a trade window inside the city. That should not be the dangerous part. And I think that's one of the most important ones, but that's all for now. That's everything for now. I hope you guys liked the video. Tell me if you disagree. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation, and I'll see you all next time.